We're going to be live now. That's fine because it still has, it's just still a delay. No problem. No.
The mics are hot, Mark.
There's a delay so we can bleep.
Welcome, everyone, to the March meeting of Information Technology and Communication. Let's all stand and recite the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. Do we have any additions or changes to our agenda today?
No, sir.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? All right, carried. Approval of the February 7th meeting minutes.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. No opposition? All right, very good. Limited public comment. All right, seeing none, we will have another opportunity towards the end of the meeting. And we are to item 6, Communications Director update.
Afternoon, Commissioners. To start my report, I've been working with several departments on some press opportunities as well as communication design conformity, which I'm going to talk about a little more in depth at the end of my report. Current active advertising on social media to promote the prosecutor's office position openings is running, or it was running, which we can get into in a minute. These advertisements are mixed media, but mostly video and MP4, and they're pulling individuals in major urban areas near law schools. Chief Assistant Prosecutor Anderson helped me sort of refine those targets. So I will end up reporting to you what that yielded once we have to actually resubmit that ad. At first it crashed when Facebook and Instagram and Meta crashed the other day, and then I got home last night and it was flagged as a political advertisement. So we now have to adjust that as well, unfortunately. So stand by on that. So this report's a little disingenuous because it is no longer running, but it will be running again once I modify it. Any questions on that?
Sounds like you have your hands full.
Web analytics, so social media, we're remaining steady over these few months. Moderate fluctuation in reach per post, which, as I said, I'm sort of expecting that. We are getting more and more attention on social media and those platforms, but again, it's going to continue to fluctuate, and we're just seeing sort of a steady increase. 37 new followers in the last 28 days, just a steady trickle of more and more followers and interactions. But as I said, that is going to fluctuate, and the average has dipped in post reach with some spikes in early February, which is from a general hiring post that saw a lot of traction. So my goal is to see those continue to grow, and on page 2 of my report, there is some benchmarking data there. Basically, I've benchmarked us alongside different municipalities of the same size, some a little larger, just to see where our reach sort of hit. We're doing slightly better than most that we're benchmarking with, but that content interaction piece, it says that we're similar to others, but I think we're far too low there. So we definitely need to figure out, I need to figure out how we can really leverage higher content interactions. And content interactions, again, are likes, follows, comments, that kind of thing. Some posts do really, really well, and then some there's crickets. That's the nature of the algorithm in there. But so as we continue to grow, we should continue to see that slow increase, but I want to see it, spike more often than it is. So, that goal is to, I'm thinking about sort of widening our benchmark selection past a few profiles, which is just municipalities around Eaton County and Ingham County and the Tri-County area, just to see, how we really compare across the state maybe. But again, that's not really showing me anything other than who we're doing better than and who we're doing worse than. So it is what it is. On page 3 there, I actually thought this was just interesting. I thought this might be interesting for you guys. Sort of a breakdown of the demographics and locations of our followers as they stood about a week and a half ago. So you can kind of see the top cities as well as an age and gender breakdown. Any questions on that, social media-wise? All right, media. In the past month, we worked to promote E-Tran Connector Service, the master plan update, trial courts amnesty program, and judicial outreach event, the FEMA Disaster Recovery Center, and then the Presidential Disaster Declaration and several subsequent updates, working closely with the Emergency Management Department on that, as well as the move to online permitting from the Department of Construction Codes and Planning and Zoning. Upcoming media pushouts include our budget process, the financial stability work groups, town halls, hiring struggles, and potentially a youth facility update. There's some nuances to that and what we can show with imagery of walls coming up and layouts of the building, but we are excited to get an update on that out. And again, if any commissioner has an idea or wants something specific showcased, please contact me. I would love to hear any ideas or anything we can leverage. As well, I am sort of working on developing a plan for some media training, just general media training for commissioners, electeds, and staff. Just kind of the bare bones, and I have talked and worked with several of you commissioners already on this process, whether it was for media pushouts or whatever it might be, and so I will inevitably end up leveraging those that I've worked with already to help with that process too. But that's just something I wanted you guys to consider, and I'll bring forth a sort of plan and what that would look like. It's going to be a little tricky to schedule it out, but I'm thinking an hour or two with a small group of commissioners and electeds to kind of walk through just sort of the nuts and bolts around how to speak to the media and how to, if you don't want to speak to them, how to avoid it, that kind of thing. Any questions on that?
I'd just like to say, I think that's a great idea. I mean, we need to consolidate our message, unify our message, if you will. But I think for the most part, unless it affects us directly, that should be directed to you first. And then let you decide if it's something you want to answer with a blanket statement, or if there's something you want to coach the commissioners or any other department heads in as to how to answer.
Yeah, and like today, we had the Lansing State Journal reach out to planning and zoning about a big major project that's going on in Charlotte. So we had a great conversation about that, and big shout out to Brandy who handled it extremely well. Yeah, so branding, my last bit here. As you know, our new logo is live. Thank you all for approving that. And again, a shout out to Liz and Technology Services, as I do every month. Her help with our website updating and working through that process. You're starting to see our logo populate different things, letterhead, our website, et cetera. But we did commit to that slow rollout. And within your packet, there's also a draft brand standards and brand guidelines. But I want to say that is, when we're ready to actually commit to full brand standards, there will be a resolution compelling, basically, so that I have the authority sort of to mask this out into the administration. And that goes from everything from business cards, email signatures, little things like that. But that isn't quite ready yet. I didn't want to do anything that would affect any line item or the budget at this point. So we're going to, I'm going to have brand standards and guides, and I've talked to almost every department already about how to update a lot of their stuff, as they see fit. But that's going to be over the next couple months that we'll actually look at a line item and budget change for that. And the budget change would come from, we're going to need to identify specific vendors we want to utilize for merch orders, for print orders, that kind of thing. And right now, it's kind of the Wild West across departments because we never coordinated that before. And some orders have been done over the last several months and before I got here. So there's a lot of work to align that. We started that work, but again, I don't want to touch any budgetary items at this point in time. I will say I've reached out to several different companies on the pricing for flags, one-sided, two-sided outdoor flags, all the options. It's far more expensive than I realized than the grandfathered price we used to have about a decade ago, 15 years ago. So stay tuned on that. I'm going to look to try and leverage some cheaper versions of that.
Okay. Any questions? Commissioner Toomey.
Commissioner Grosha, I know you were I know you love your Eaton County flag. I'm just wondering, how many of those have we ever sold? Like, is it worth honestly making more of them? No, I know you were very invested in the flag, but is it worth the effort? Even anything, it says merch pricing, specifically flags, any other merch. I just don't know anybody. It's like, I need to rock that Eaton County Courthouse on a t-shirt or something like that, but I'm just curious what you think of that.
Yeah, so when I said merch, I guess I shouldn't have used that word necessarily. I didn't mean like trucker hats and stuff, although, hey, we'll talk about it. No, but construction codes and a few other inspectors and such have just Eaton County shirts in general.
Okay, that's more.
That kind of thing, yeah.
understandable.
I
Thank you.
should have been more clear.
I looked at that and I was like, that would, maybe there's a market for that I didn't know about.
And I think flag-wise, I think there's like here and I think a few other spots that typically would have it. I might end up leaning on some commissioners on sort of the institutional knowledge around where that needs to be. I've gotten mixed messages from different people. But yeah, I'm getting pricing for like what would one flag cost, 2 flags, there's like a bundle deal. But yeah, we used to sell them. I spoke with Clerk Bosworth about it. She gave me a box of some of the old ones we had left, which was like 4 of them. I did hang one in my office that was open, so if anybody's interested in seeing what that looked like. But she said that they never really sold too many, as you probably suggested. And it was also, we were getting a really good rate for printing those in the past, which doesn't seem to be possible now. But I am waiting on a couple more quotes to get an understanding of what that'll look like.
Okay, thank you.
Perhaps, Commissioner Toomey, you should work on a campaign to get those shirts out. We might get some people involved in that, and I jest, but anyway. I noticed, Logan, on the marketing here on the business card. You might want to clean up that print there. I'm not sure what language that is that you use.
Let me see.
He's referring to on the left side of the
Yeah,
where it
the
says
left
business
side.
card. There is a slight typographical error there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there.
We're now communicating in symbols.
There we go, there we go.
Whoa.
It's pretty awesome, but I don't know what font that is.
Sir, is that a
was
part
a
of the
test.
brand standards?
That was a test. Good catch.
Pardon, oh, yeah, Commissioner Haskell, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to jump back to the breakdown of the cities, with Charlotte taking 25% of the interaction. Is that, I mean, I can understand why that would be with it being the courthouse being located here, people in Charlotte would naturally be more interested in it. Is there anything we can do to try to drive some of the further, it seems like the further we get away from the courthouse, the lower it drops.
Yeah, so whenever we post, there's a lot of posts that I'll do within different forums and groups and this is just Facebook specifically. Whether that's, just Eaton County-wide happenings and the split of who lives where within those subgroups gets tricky, then I don't know what that is. But you're right in that, in looking at this, we do need to target those specific areas. And so I have pending applications in for different groups within different areas and different cities, some of which I'm in and able to post. And actually, Eaton Rapids is one of them that has a very active one. And that's why that started to tick up over time, which I guess I don't have historical data here for you to look at. But no, you're right. And aside from doing that, and then also posting specific content that is maybe tailored for a specific geography within the county. So whereas somebody from Charlotte or somebody from Delta Township might not care about it, but it is hitting that specific stakeholder subgroup, that would hopefully crank up interaction and it'll populate their feeds, and then that's the hope.
Sure.
Yeah, but other than that, just the more people that share our stuff that live in those areas, that's where the difference really comes from.
Organically growing. Okay, I got it. I can just think of a lot of, educational and informational posts that the county will probably be making in the next, 6 to 7 months, that we should make sure that, residents that are further away from here are receiving.
Yeah, point well taken.
Thank you.
Any other questions in that? Curiosity here, Logan.
Yeah.
Our logo, is this now trademarked or
Yeah.
copyrighted?
We own it.
We own it. Okay, so what are the restrictions from someone in the public just latching onto that artwork and using it for?
So actually, I reached out to Edge Partnerships with that question, because I think that came up last month or in a side conversation, maybe it was with you. It's tricky in that they can't use it for profit, but if they rip it from online and then print something and they pay for it and they disperse it, I don't think we can prevent that from happening.
All right.
As far as I understand it, but he's looking into it, the designer actually
But
specifically.
anything that it might use it in a derogatory manner, we have some kind of,
If they're using it to make money, Yes, but I think technically they could print something. Yeah, if anybody has any further information on that too, please talk to me about that if you have any experience with that. But Edge, so it was an interesting question because it's happened before, and then I think in some of the cases, it's, we maybe have ground to stand on, but to litigate that isn't necessarily worth the cost of litigating it and trying to get it taken down in any way. Online, it's different. If we own something proprietary and then we can, flag something, then often it'll be easier. But if somebody's printing something, it gets a lot harder.
Okay. All right, any more questions for Logan? Anything else you have to tell us?
That's it. I will edit those brand guidelines.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 7, Technology Service Director update.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. No action items requested here today, just going to be a project status update. Project that sometimes I get made fun of is our printer reduction project that we're working on, our initiative. Happy to report we've removed another 5 printers this quarter and hopeful to remove another 5 next quarter. So it's a slow process, but as Deputy Director Nathan Nybert and I have going around working with departments this month on next year's budget, it's definitely a topic that we've been talking about, and printers are slowly coming back and getting off the network. So we're happy to report that.
Do we need to get you a bodyguard or anything like that?
Some days. People are passionate about printers. That's good. Next item is our cybersecurity initiative, using KnowBe4 as a training mechanism. The first training went out for the month of February. There was a 73% completion rate for that, which I'm excited about for the first time. In parallel with that, we've run a couple phishing campaigns, email phishing campaigns, and we have about a 9% click rate on those phishing emails. So there's some work to do there. I am not going to drop names of anybody, but there are some work to do. And in correlation that looking at the data, some of the individuals that didn't partake in their initial training are part of the clickers too. So there is a correlation of not taking the training and being part of that second group. So we're using the data. We're going to figure out how to increase that 73%, what we can do internally to encourage staff members to partake in cybersecurity training. Any questions on that topic?
Commissioner Holmes? Commissioner Haskell.
I forwarded a email along yesterday, and I was going to talk to you about it before the meeting. I didn't get a chance to. Something about didn't fill out my time card or something like that. Was that one of your campaigns?
Possible. Okay. Yes.
Okay, because I did. I sent it over to Ben. And I was like, did you guys put me on a weird list? I don't do time cards with you. Okay, cool.
So it's good, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because part of that, we've implemented basically a report a phishing email button in our Outlook, which is our program that we use for email. And we have about a 13% return on that of people reporting a phishing email through that mechanism. So staff are, hey, this is suspicious. They report it to us. It automatically goes into our ticketing system, which helps automate us getting a response back to our end users. So the system is working. It's in its infancy stage, but we have a long ways to go. But I'm very excited of where we stand right now with it.
Any other questions?
Next item was just give you an update on the central dispatch remodel. Deputy Director Nybert and I and Director Cunningham meet with representatives from AT&T tomorrow to look at designing a plan to move their phone system from their main level of where they operate now to a secondary location in the building while they're doing the renovation. So hopefully we'll have a good plan going forward with that at the end of tomorrow's meeting, but that's going to be a very complicated process to eliminate any downtime. There really is no room for error in this, and we need to have a well-executed plan for this. So working closely with all parties to get a good plan together. Timeline is still looking somewhere between June and August. That hasn't been clearly defined yet. As we know more, we'll definitely keep everybody posted of the status of that. Another application we're working on, actually Deputy Director Nybert has been working close with this, is the prosecutor by Carpel. We're making progress with that. That's basically the case management solution for the prosecutor's office, moving to a cloud-hosted solution. We're in the process now of moving all of the on-prem data up to cloud storage. Nathan's working closely with the vendor on that, and staff in the prosecuting attorney's office are updating their forms and uploading those to Carpel as well. With that project I think it has a timeline of completion around August. So it's moving quickly, hopefully by midsummer, end of summer. That's another system. The data will be off of the county's network. It'll alleviate our storage footprint a little bit. And it's a good plan going forward. Chad Powers and I met with Granger yesterday. There was a miscommunication of the generator, backup generator for that facility. The original plan was to have all the data centers, security cameras, and door access on the new generator backup circuitry over there. It was discovered last week that wasn't in the works. So we had a meeting yesterday, physically went over there, identified equipment that needed to be put on the generator. Fortunately, the generator is spec'd to accommodate adding that extra load on there. That's not an issue, but small crisis averted of being able to have some of that life safety stuff and network equipment on the generator. So that's back on track. It's not going to delay the project at all, but just something that was important that everybody caught. So make sure that's completed. Another item this month, actually scheduled this morning with acd.net. We're in the process of upgrading our internet service, basically increasing our bandwidth as we're using more and more online technology. Our internet bandwidth that we have now is becoming taxed. So actually negotiating with acd.net earlier in the year, actually negotiated a cheaper price for more bandwidth. So that's a positive for us, and it'll allow for future growth of online services here at the county to excel without limitations in bandwidth. So hopeful to have that wrapped up mid this month. Dispatch has been made aware of it and agreed to the timeline. This will be an after hours, after normal business hours cutovers. Hopefully have minimal impact, but it is scheduled with all parties involved, and it doesn't coincide with any evening board meetings, so, which is good. Any questions with that?
Commissioner Woodruff.
Doggone button. Eric, do you happen to know how big a generator they're going to have over there?
I don't know the exact spec of it, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's a 100,000 kilowatt generator. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's the number that I remember seeing.
Okay. Bigger than the one for my house.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Thank you, Eric.
yeah.
Any other questions for Eric?
I did have one other exciting piece of news. Starting in April, we will be fully staffed now. We were able to select and hire an intern this week. So come April, the end of April, we'll be hiring an individual, be coming on board. He's a student of Fair State University and computer science major, resident of Eaton County. So we're excited to have him for the summer. He'll be a great addition to the team. So we'll be in good shape. But that is all I had.
All right. Any questions for Eric? All right, thank you, sir. We are now on to miscellaneous. Do we have any miscellaneous items today?
No, sir.
All right. Any more limited public comment? Seeing none, I will move for adjournment. We'll see you April the 3rd.